For the last year, we've been hearing all about a recession that's going to be coming. If not in this quarter, it'll definitely be in the next quarter. And if not then, well, then it'll be in the quarter after that. Or maybe it's even going to be next year. The reality is, we haven't really seen anything close to the recession that we've been promised. And it's got many people wondering now, are we actually going to see it? Borrowing costs continually rise with the interest rates constantly going up thanks to the feds. And interest rate hikes are really affecting us all. However, consumers keep spending and employers keep hiring. The gas prices that we experienced about 6 months ago have all but leveled off and are dropping. And crazy grocery prices have at least started to stabilize, if not begun to drop. So the economy is continuing to grow, and also growing are many economists saying that we either aren't going to have this recession or possibly we've already seen it and we're now coming out of it. So, how does that affect you and your investments in the market? Stick around. There's an old saying in the stock market to buy on rumor and to sell on news, which basically just means when you hear potentially good news may come out about a company, that's a good time to buy. When the company actually brings out that news, that's a good time to sell, as the prices generally drive up on good news. And one of the things that I've noticed over the last little while, and I'll say the last little while meaning a few years, is that stock prices are very, very emotional, just like we are, although we shouldn't be in the stock market. And what I mean by that is, I've noticed a number of occasions where some of the companies that I'm invested in, when they come out with some news that may not be the best news or the anticipated news, like they didn't hit an earnings report that was expected, slightly less, but still good. The stock market really seems to get very emotional about that and really hammers that stock. And I've gotten to the point where I go out and buy some at that point because there's nothing fundamentally different with the company. It's like a spoiled child getting sent to their room and they don't want to play. They're going to take their ball and they're going to go home. And that stock suffers, a certain percentage for about a week or two, and then it goes back up. And what I've noticed in the last little while in the market is those things seem to happen more and more every day. And to me, those are fabulous, fantastic buying opportunities. Getting back to the topic of this video, I've also noticed when people talk about recession or that there's a fear of a recession, the market takes a huge hit. People are afraid. People are scared. They don't want to put their money into specific investments or any investments for that matter. They want to keep cash on hand. They want to keep it on the side. They want to put it in a savings account because they're fearful that their money is going to just waste away to nothing. The sad reality is the latest fears of recession that we've been hearing about have really impacted the markets. But as I've said in so many videos, the market goes up, the market goes down. And again, one of our greatest investors in our lifetime is Warren Buffett. And one of his quotes that I really love is to be greedy when others are fearful and be fearful when others are greedy. So when the stock market concerns about a recession come into play and people get fearful, that's when they look to sell. And that is when we should be looking to buy. Because again, the fundamentals of the stock itself, for the most part, probably have not changed. People are just getting emotional and getting fearful about a recession and therefore want to sell a lot of their shares. That's where you should be sitting on the sidelines with a little bit of cash to buy up those shares. And I'm going to show you two different examples, both in my wife and my portfolio, about what that does for your investments when you stay consistent and buy stocks even when others are fearful. I think I mentioned in a few videos now that I got my wife started in her TFSA back in October when we had a house sale. We moved to another area of Ontario and we made out pretty well with the purchase of our new house. And that's when my wife opened up her TFSA. At the same time, the market was in a bit of a conundrum at that point, and it was pretty low, which was a great time for her to get in and do some purchases. After investing or putting a fair amount of money into her investments back in October, I believe it would have been, she ended up getting as high as about an 8 or 9% return on all of her investments for the next few months as the market really took off and did well. In that same amount of time, we were constantly purchasing. And then we hit a bit of a wall come January, February, and the stock market began to drop quite a bit. All of those increases in her portfolio ended up going down to the point where she was almost in negative territory. Not quite, but almost. And the thing that really makes this impressive is that whole time we were consistently buying into the stocks that she's a part of. And over the last month, we've now seen a little bit of a recovery and things go back up. So, to summarize my wife's portfolio, she was up near 10%. She went down basically to zero. And now she's currently, as of trade close on Friday, she's back up 3.5%. The point is, all along and all through there, she was continuing to buy shares in the investments that she was in. And for my portfolio, I'll actually give you a visual demonstration of one of the stocks that I'm in. This is Canadian Tire Corporation being viewed on Yahoo Finance. And on the far left, on all the trade dates, you can see all the different occasions where I've purchased either full or partial shares using Wealthsimple. And I started back in February of 2023 getting into Canadian Tire Corporation. And you can see there the lowest price that I've gotten in at looks to be $164 and change over a few different areas of February and March. And over time, and again, with these fears of recession, I was able to purchase a number of these partial shares and full shares to the point where I'm now sitting at a 9% return. If you look in the top right here, 9.2% return on a stock that I only began to purchase back in February. So let me just scroll down here. The largest purchase just near the end of June at 173.26 for Canadian Tire Corporation. You can see I purchased 8 shares at that point in time. So even in the last 3 weeks, or give or take a day or two, about the last 3 weeks, the Canadian Tire Corporation has gone from 173.26 on the day that I purchased to a close last Friday of $185.04. Not bad for a 3 week return, excuse me. And as I said, a 9.2% return just in since February on this stock. The point of all of this, again, and I should include as well when I was talking about my wife's portfolio, this is just pure stock return. This doesn't include any dividends. So if you include dividends in the total return, then my 9.2% is up over 10%. And when I was talking about my wife's close to 10% and then down to zero, back up to 3.5, that doesn't include any dividends, which she is pretty much all every stock she has is dividend, and a majority of mine, I think outside of 2 or 3, are dividend stocks as well. So as you can see in what I've shown you in my own portfolio is the word recession has a real negative impact on the market. And as I've mentioned as well, sometimes companies come out with reports that aren't the top-notch reports that are expected, and they take a little bit of dip in price as well. And that's a great time to get more of those shares if indeed you are truly invested in that company and want to hold it. Because over time, as I keep saying, market goes up, market goes down. If you're buying throughout those periods, as we were with all of this recessionary talk, then in the end, it certainly helps your portfolio. And what you'll begin to notice is the more shares you hold in a company, when the market goes up, those shares really show you a really good return, total bottom line. So, as I always say to close out this video, this has not been investing advice, just some of the techniques that we use to purchase and sell shares. If you've enjoyed this video, as I always ask, I would politely request you to consider hitting that Mark C's Place icon to subscribe to the channel and like this video as well. Until next time, take care. We'll talk to you soon.